Hello, I'm John Davis. I'm reading today for the DMQ virtual Salon. I'll be reading two poems from my book, Above the Bejeweled City, just out from Grid Books. First poem I'll read, The Ghost of Denis Johnson. Now that I'm a shadow of my former self, a shade, a wanderer on this senseless planet of regret, I've been assigned the task of repeating myself to the strays and outcasts. This teenage girl, for example, huddled on the plaza, wrapped in the blanket some kind stranger tossed her to warm his own befuddled heart. Befuddled is not a word I used when my feet touched the ground, when I could lean over a hand of cards like I'd never seen those aces that one-eyed jack before, and up the ante just by appearing bewildered. But listen, friends, I was bewildered, not by the cards or the various approximations of my fate that I entertained while the others shook their glasses and let the ice fall against their teeth, but by the blur of faces, the small miracles of companionship I felt when the dealer slid two cards my way, and I turned up the edges as if just peeking would grant them the opportunity to transform themselves into aces. The girl on the plaza never asked for the 20 I handed her and took it without a smile or a word, and I recognized her then, another traveler among the exhausted lights turned low, and the bells from the cathedral more gong than ring, sending their secret messages to the tourists trudging through new snow. Something about an eternal life that girl and I were immune to, since we were already dead and also undead, and knew it was all the same here, where the new snow is untouched by our passing, and the parade of souls is the same parade, the same souls consigned to circle this plaza forever. The next poem is the title poem, Above the Bejeweled City. I was a guest in their house, a house set at the lit edge of a great city. Below us, a virus was floating like dust motes through the streets. Their daughter had raised a jar full of butterflies, not a jar exactly, more like a vase. I was having drinks with them in violation of the latest edicts from the premier. When they weren't speaking to me, they spoke a bright, guttural language, like the one you might imagine river rocks would speak at the bottom of a mountain stream. At one point in the evening, the daughter rose politely from her chair and performed a kind of flamenco, snaking her hands into the air as if pulling herself through dense undergrowth. How can I explain? The world was ending. In the city below, people were collapsing, struggling to breathe. I didn't know why there were fires or why smoke marbled the sky above the buildings. I tried to imagine individual deaths, eyes looking out from behind glass visors, hands reaching up to be held. It seemed the least I could do. We moved onto the balcony that overlooked the city. We brought the vase of butterflies, flashing red lights jeweled the streets below us. Sirens flared and stopped and flared again. We stood quietly in the darkness. As I understood it, my host was a professor of some rarely spoken language. His wife sang cabaret songs in a local bistro. We removed the cover of the vase and released the butterflies. Would you believe me if I told you that they sprang from the jar as though forced upward by a burst of air, and that they did not flutter away into the night, but one by one landed on that girl until she was covered with wings, all gently pulsing. Oh, readers, it was lovely there on that balcony above the dying world, and for a moment I thought she might step away and leave the butterflies hanging there in the shape of a girl. After a while, she pointed to herself. "What's happening?" she whispered. Her parents said something in their underwater language that caused her to begin slowly turning, and the butterflies began to loosen their grip and flutter into the night, catching the light a moment before they were lost in the general darkness. That is how it has always been done in our country, my host told me, with one such as her. And I believe them, dear reader. Wouldn't you have, on such a night, in such a world? Thank you.